With that I come here. I'm not a miracle worker. I'm not a genius. I don't lay any belief in the fact that we are going to be successful because I'm here. The only chance we have is for the students and the athletes and the priests and the nuns and everybody that's followed Notre Dame to pull together and understand that there's great parity in college football today, and while we do have fine athletes here, other schools have fine athletes, and the margin between winning and losing is very small.
This past Monday, Gerry Faust called it quits after 5 long and often frustrating seasons. And yet there is a final chapter to be played out here at the Orange Bowl. One final game, but it will not be easy. For across the field will be the Miami Hurricanes, and they are explosive. Parsigan, you took over at a tough time at Notre Dame. Lou Holtz is coming in. What does Lou bring to this job?
First of all, he brings 16 years of successful college football experience. And as I pointed out to a number of people when Gerry Faust was appointed the head football coach at Notre Dame, I had 14 years when I came. Your experience, it's a very important thing. And I think that Notre Dame has selected a very good coach.
What does he have to do, Era, right away?
Well, I would think in spring practice he's going to evaluate the personnel in the lineup. That's what I've always talked about. You have to see what you have. It's X amount of ability. That ability has to be placed in the proper spot. You can't expect a guy or place a guy in a job that he's not capable of doing. And that's what I'm sure Lou Holtz and the staff that he selects will be very much involved in spring practice to make a determination on where these guys fit best.
51-7. You hate to pick out one play as a key play, but if there was one, it was this one. Berline wanted Pinkett, and Blades stepped in with the interception and went 61 yards for the touchdown. That seems like an eternity ago. The Irish will punt at the 4:53 mark. They blocked the punt. 3 in the end zone, bounced on for a touchdown, Miami. Number 54. And of course, what surprises me in this particular situation is that you would humiliate a coach on the other side of the field who is closing out his career and the game is long over. So that I'm as surprised as anyone that they would go for the blocked punt.
Brent, Notre Dame will rise again. With these ashes will come the winning Notre Dame team. That's my prediction.
Miami over Notre Dame, 58-7, and it is also ended for Gerry Faust. Gerry Faust leaves the field for the last time. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
I went to the University of Minnesota. They were trying to force me to sign a contract, and I didn't want to do it if my whole family wasn't happy, and so we talked about it, and lo and behold, there was a lot of grumbling. I said, we're going to go into a separate room, and we're going to pray on it for a half hour. Half hour later, we came out, and the whole family's together. This is the right thing to do. Let's go to Minnesota. I said, you know, I want to come to Minnesota, but I've got to have the Notre Dame clause in. And that is, if we accepted a bowl bid at Minnesota, we had to accept a bowl bid first. And if we accepted a bowl bid and Notre Dame contacted me, then I would be free to go, but only to Notre Dame. Well, nobody thought we'd turn that program around that quickly in my second year. So we accepted a bowl bid. And I said to the athletic director, now, you know, if we accept this bowl bid, the Notre Dame clause goes into effect. He said, I understand that, but I think it's important for us. And so about a week later, they contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be the head coach, as I told Father Joyce. And he said, there are certain stipulations here, though. We don't take transfers, and we don't redshirt athletes. We don't have an athlete dorm. We don't have an athlete training table. We're going to play the most difficult schedule we can find. We expect to win. He said the other thing that we don't change, it's not negotiable, is we have a policy the head coach cannot make more than the president. The president of Notre Dame's a priest that took the vow of poverty. And so I said, that doesn't bother me. So he said, yes. He said, great, we'll have the press conference the following Monday after Miami. He called me back later that day and said there are too many people trying to guess who the coach would be or figuring out who he should be. Our team leaves for Miami on Wednesday morning. We're going to do the press conference tomorrow afternoon.
I introduce to you Lou Holtz, the new football coach at the University of Notre Dame.
Thank you. Thank you, Gene. First of all, thank you. I'm delighted to be here. I'm proud to be named the 25th head football coach at the University of Notre Dame.
We had just gotten destroyed by Miami, down in Miami. We flew back that night after that game in Miami, and we almost had a crash landing, trying to land into South Bend. There was a blizzard, and that made a miserable night worse. We ended up having to pull up right before we hit the runway and had to divert to Chicago. Landed in Chicago and took buses home. Got back to South Bend, I think, about 6 in the morning the next day. We had a meeting very shortly after he was announced as the head coach, and he came in to that meeting, and we were still a little bit hungover from the whole experience down in Miami, to say the least. And he came in that meeting, and a lot of us were kind of slouched back in our chairs, had hats on, and kind of head back, and just not overly impressed with what was going on. He got up to the podium and he looked at our class or at our team, and he said, "Get your feet on the floor, sit up straight, take your hats off, and get ready to play some football." And we stood up and we sat up and we were like, "Whoa, what is this guy all about?" We knew right away that it was a whole new deal we were going to be having to figure out.
Get your feet down, sit up in your chair, and get your hat off. And it was that. I mean, he demanded respect, and we gave it to him.
I'll tell you what, though, to be honest with you, just like a little kid sometimes craves discipline, I think we did too. And we responded and got the message loud and clear.